Did the Canadian real estate market bottom out and start rebounding, or is this current little blip in home prices up just that, a blip on the radar before a bigger decline? Let's dig into this month's data and figure out what's going on in the Canadian real estate market. Hey there, welcome back to Bald Prairie Real Estate. My name is Matthew Pfeifer from Real Estate Agent in Regina. That's my trusted assistant Matilda. This is the March 2023 Canadian real estate market update. Now, last month I talked about how there were a couple of cities that were starting to see home prices creeping back up. But the major real estate markets in Canada, like Toronto and Vancouver, were both still seeing price decreases. Spoiler alert for this month's update, both of those cities saw month-over-month price increases this month, along with pretty much every other city in Canada. So we're going to be doing a deep dive in, figure out what the heck's going on in the Canadian real estate market, looking at 11 major real estate markets in Canada here. But first, we got to start off with another one of my terrible dad jokes. The other month, my wife said to me, if you bring me home another stupid gift, I'm going to burn it. So I bought her a candle. If you have a terrible joke that I can use in a future episode, put it in the comments below. In Victoria, there are 460 homes sold in the month. That's down about 11% from the 520 that they typically see sell in the month. While the 835 homes newly listed for sale is down 9% from the 5-year average of 920 homes usually listed in the month. And there's just over 1,800 homes currently for sale in Victoria, which is down about 2% from the 1,830 listings they would typically be up for sale right now, leaving their months of inventory at 3.9. That's actually trending back towards the seller's market. When it comes to prices, the composite benchmark price, that's all property types combined into one simple metric, about $860,000. That's down 3.5% from last year, down 14% from the peak we saw in June of 2022. What we're seeing in the Victoria real estate market right now is a combination of the busy buyer spring market with a reluctance of sellers not wanting to put their houses up for sale. That's evident in new listings being down nearly 10%. Now, we actually also saw active inventory, that's homes for sale, below the 5-year average for the first time since the middle of last year. And while sales are down significantly, even versus the 5-year average, that gap versus the 5-year average from the current month continues to shrink. A few months ago, it was 40 to 45% down. Now we're talking about 35% down. About 2 weeks ago, I made a prediction there'd be around 1,800 homes sold in Vancouver in the month. Well, it ended up with 1,808. I got pretty close on that projection. Now that's still down 30% from the 5-year average, where it's closer usually to about 2,600 sales in the month. While the 3,500 homes put up for sale in the month in Vancouver, well, that is down 13% from the 5-year average. Usually closer to 4,200 homes would be put up for sale in the month. And active inventory is at 7,800. That is down 12% from their 5-year average. And only about 9,200 homes would be up for sale this time of year. And that shifted months of inventory back down to 4.4, so smack in the middle of a balanced market in Vancouver right now. When it comes to prices, that composite benchmark price in Vancouver, $1.12 million, that is down 9% from last year, down about 12% from the peak we saw in April of 2022. But for the first time, we saw a month-over-month increase. That's the first time we've seen that increase since the spring market of last year. When I'm talking to real estate agents in Vancouver, the messaging has been pretty consistent for about 6 weeks now, and that is we're seeing a significant uptick in activity. While we're still way down from the averages, we're seeing more showings, more phone calls, more people attending open houses, more multiple offers, and more offers in general. So significant uptick in activity. The days on market in Vancouver dropped in half from January to February. Another sign that the market is picking back up. As has been the case for quite a while though in Vancouver, the more affordable segments and neighborhoods are what is attracting the most competition and most interest from buyers. So in Vancouver's case, East Vancouver typically is going to be more affordable, and that's going to attract more attention. Condos and townhouses are seeing the most competitive real estate market right now in Vancouver. In Calgary, they had 1,740 sales a month. That's up 4% from the 5-year average, where typically about 1,680 homes are sold in a month. While there's about 2,400 homes that were put up for sale last month, that is down 18% from the 5-year average, where typically closer to 3,000 homes would be put up for sale in a month. And the 2,700 homes currently for sale in Calgary, well, that's down a staggering 49% from the 5-year average, typically closer to 5,400 homes would be up for sale this time of year, meaning that months of inventory is at 1.6 in Calgary. When it comes to home prices in Calgary, that composite benchmark price, $530,000, up 6% from last year, down about 3% from the peak we saw in May of 2022, but also marks 2 months in a row we've seen price increases in Calgary. Now, as active as the Calgary real estate market is right now, it's likely they'd see more sales if there was more inventory. That continues to be a problem in Calgary. When it comes to what's hot right now, houses under $700,000 are selling extremely quickly. Multiple offers very common. Same thing goes for townhouses under $400,000. Agents there are feeling that it's the condo market where they're likely going to see the largest percentage of price increase. We still haven't got back to the 2014 highs we saw in Calgary, but it wouldn't surprise me and a lot of agents there if we start getting awfully close to those prices based on what we're seeing in that condo market right now in Calgary. In Edmonton, the 1,300 homes that were sold last month, well, that is down 8% from the 5-year average. Typically closer to 1,400 homes would sell in the month. While the 2,600 homes that were put up for sale in the month, that's down 2% from the 5-year average. Usually just a little over 2,600 homes are put up for sale in the month. The 5,600 homes currently for sale right now at Edmonton, that is down 18% from the 5-year average. Normally about 6,800 homes would be for sale right now. So months of inventory in Edmonton is 4.4, right in the middle of a balanced market. The composite benchmark price, that's all property types combined into one metric, is about $370,000 in Edmonton, down 4% year over year, also down about 9% from the peaks we saw in June of 2022. It is, though, a month-over-month increase. When it comes to Edmonton real estate market, it's very similar to what we're seeing in a lot of cities in the prairies right now. In that $300,000 to $500,000 price point in Edmonton, very competitive, not a lot of inventory, both above and below that, far less competitive, more of a buyer's market there. In Regina, the 206 homes sold in the month, that is up 5% from the 5-year average, where typically a little under 200 homes will be sold in the month, while the 336 homes newly listed for sale is down 7% from the 5-year average of 360. And the 751 homes currently for sale in Regina is down 30% from the 5-year average. Normally, we'd expect to see about 1,100 homes for sale this time of year in Regina, so months of inventory is 3.6, trending back towards a seller's market. The composite benchmark price in Regina, so all property types combined into one metric, is $310,000, essentially unchanged from last year, unchanged from the month before, down about 5% from the peak of June 2022. Low inventory continues to be a problem in Regina. That 750 homes for sale has been consistent essentially all year long. It should be increasing. It's not. We should have 1,100 or 1,200 homes on the market right now. We don't. And this is more acute in that $300,000 to $500,000 price point. Usually about 35% of all the sales that happen will happen in that price point on any given month. Well, right now, only 20% of the active inventory is sitting in that price point. So that's where you're seeing some of the most competitive buyers markets. East side, North End, $400,000 single family homes. Buyers, be prepared to be competing. We're seeing a lot of multiple offers there. For sellers, if you have a house you want to sell and you're thinking about waiting for the spring market because it'll be busier, I'd put my house in the market right now. There's a lot of buyers struggling to find what they're looking for, and your house might be it. In Saskatoon, they had over 250 homes sold in the month. That's up 3% from the 5-year average, and typically about 240 homes are sold in the month. While the 426 homes newly listed for sale is down 16% from the 5-year average, typically over 500 homes would be put up for sale in the month. And active inventory for sale right now, 900 homes. That is down 44% from the 5-year average. You should see about 1,350 homes for sale right now in Saskatoon. We're just not seeing that. So months of inventory is at 3.6, and that's trending closer and closer to a seller's market in Saskatoon. When it comes to prices, the composite benchmark price, so that's all property types combined into one number, is $372,000. That is equal to last year. And don't be surprised if we see another month-over-month increase like I'm expecting in Saskatoon. Similar to Regina, that $300,000 to $500,000 price point is very active in Saskatoon. That's typically where the majority of homes, especially single-family homes, will sell in. And the hottest markets in Saskatoon for activity, Brighton, Evergreen, Stonebridge, and Rosewood. The keen-eyed viewers there will notice all of those except for one are on the east side of town. So if you are a buyer looking for a single-family home on the east side of Saskatoon, expect that to be competitive. Multiple offers are very common there, although there is a few neighborhoods in the west side that are also very competitive as well. The 660 homes sold last month in Winnipeg is down 28% versus the 5-year average. Usually about 920 homes would sell in the month, while the 1,400 homes newly listed for sale is down 19% from the 5-year average. Typically you see about 1,750 homes put up for sale in the month. And the 3,000 homes currently for sale in Winnipeg, well, that is up 11% from the 5-year average of about 2,750 homes. The months of inventory is at 5.5. That has been increasing a little bit, but still in the middle of a balanced market. When it comes to prices, the composite benchmark price in Winnipeg, so that's all property types combined into one metric, $320,000. down 10% from last year, also down 12% from the peak we saw in May of 2022. When I'm talking with real estate agents in Winnipeg, I'm hearing a similar story to what I'm experiencing in my own market of Regina, and that is houses that show well and are priced well are selling well. So if you are a buyer and you find that house that shows well and it's priced well, do not be surprised if that market is very competitive and you see multiple offers. As a seller, if you are expecting last year's prices, good luck. You're probably not going to get it, especially if your house does not show well. So you have to price it accordingly for the current market and make sure it shows well. Otherwise, buyers are just going to go look at different houses and make offers on those instead. In Toronto, there were nearly 4,800 homes sold in a month, but that is down 36% from the 5-year average. Usually closer to 7,500 homes would sell in the month, while the 8,300 homes put up for sale in the month is down 31% from that 5-year average. Usually there's 12,000 odd homes that would be put up for sale in the month in Toronto. And that leaves the 9,600 homes currently for sale in Toronto down 3% from the 5-year average. Usually about 10,000 homes would be for sale this time of year in Toronto. So months of inventory is at 2, pushing Toronto deeper into a seller's market actually, based on the sales versus active inventory numbers. When it comes to prices, the composite benchmark price, so all property types combined into one metric, $1.09 million, down 20% from the peak we saw in March of 2022. But for the first time in 10 months, we saw a month-over-month price increase in Toronto. Now, there's two things that I find interesting about the Toronto real estate market this month. First is that the sales to listing price is 100%, meaning on average, homes are selling for exactly what the sellers are asking for. And 35% of all homes sold last month in Toronto sold over asking price. And as you saw when I was talking about prices, we saw a month-over-month price increase in Toronto. Now, I can already see people in the comments saying, it's just February, it's 1 month, it doesn't make a trend, it won't last. Yes, February typically we see good price increases. Yes, it's just 1 month, and I'm the first one to say that doesn't make a trend. And yes, it may not last, but if you've been following me, this has been coming for a while in Toronto. We saw in April, May, and June the largest month-over-month price decreases in Toronto, and since then, the month-over-month price decreases have been shrinking each and every single month. So if that trend continued, it was inevitable that we would see prices start increasing unless there was something dramatic to change that, which we haven't seen yet. Now, this next question doesn't just apply to Toronto, it applies Canada-wide, and that is that we normally will see home prices increase in the spring. So is this just a seasonal price increase, or is this actually a shift in the market overall from the downward trend that we've been on to a upward trend that we had previously been on before last year? Personally, I think it's a little bit of both. In Ottawa, 855 homes sold the month. That's down 31% from the 5-year average of about 1,240 homes that would typically sell in the month. And the 1,360 homes newly listed for sale is down 9% from the 5-year average of 1,500. While the slightly over 2,300 homes currently for sale in Ottawa right now is actually up 7% from the 5-year average of 2,200. But interestingly enough, months of inventory is 2.7, so technically Ottawa's still in the seller's market, although the prices don't reflect that right now. And speaking of prices, that composite benchmark price of all property types combined into one number is down 16% from last year and down 19% from the peak we saw in March of 2022. Now, if you are a buyer in Ottawa, finally, for the first time in years, you actually have some choice, because it's been a long time since Ottawa has seen this level of inventory. And that's great for buyers. You have not only more choice, but more time, and you can actually write conditions. This is fantastic. But we are still seeing good houses that are priced aggressively, selling well, selling in multiple offers. So if you see a house and you think, hey, this is priced really well, be prepared that there could be multiple offers. But the nice thing is you can have more choice and more time to look at more houses and find that right one for you right now. In Montreal, they had just shy of 3,000 homes sold in the month. That's down 35% from the 5-year average of 4,600 sales. While the 5,300 homes newly listed for sale is down 19% from that 5-year average, we're usually at 6,500. And the just about 15,900 homes actively for sale in Montreal is down 7% from their 5-year average. Usually they're closer to 18,000 active listings this time of year. And so months of inventory dropped from over 8 last month to 5.3 this month. When it comes to prices, that composite benchmark price in Montreal, so all property types combined into one, is about $500,000 right now, down 5% from last year and down 9% from the peak we saw in May of 2022. Last month, I was saying how Montreal agents were telling me that it is getting more active, they're getting more phone calls, but we weren't really seeing it reflected in the sales. We're starting to see that now reflect in the sales, more activity, more sales happening, more people attending open houses, everything else is going on. But sellers, for the most part, are kind of sticking to their guns on prices. Most of the price drops happened early last year, much like we saw across Canada. And since then, sellers have been kind of sticking to the guns, not really changing and not reducing prices very much. Now, one thing I found interesting, I know that the Laurentians is not really Montreal itself, but it's in the Montreal area. I've been told there that anything that's priced under $400,000 is seeing 10 to 15 offers regularly. In Halifax, the 270 homes sold last month is down 27% from last year, while the 370 homes newly listed for sale is up 20% from last year, and the 560 homes currently for sale in Halifax is up a staggering 186%, but that's actually been declining for a number of months in a row. Months of inventory is 1.3 right now in Halifax. When it comes to average price, it's $540,000 in Halifax. That's up 13% from last year, but down about 5% from the peak we saw in May of 2022. With 1.3 months of inventory, Halifax moves back in front of Calgary, having the shortest months of inventory in Canada, at least of all the cities that I keep track of. And here's a couple of really interesting stats. Homes are selling on average 30 days. They're selling for 99% of the asking price, and approximately 40% of all sales happened over asking price. If you think that sounds like a really busy market, congratulations, you'd be correct. For the last 2-3 years, Halifax has consistently been one of the hottest, busiest markets in Canada. Now, clearly you love learning about Canadian real estate, so why don't you watch this video right here, which is my most recent weekly news recap, where I go through what I thought were the most interesting news articles that week in the Canadian real estate market. Please, though, give this video a like, subscribe to Bald Prairie Real Estate if you haven't already, leave me comments below so I can chat with you guys in the comment section, and as always, thanks very much for watching.